Hey everybody, what's up? My name is Austin Walker. I'm the social media manager here at the Denver Center for the Performing Arts, and I'm very excited to be coming to you today live and in person to talk about the upcoming 22-23 theater company season. Now, I was supposed to be joined today by our Artistic Director Chris Coleman. He's unfortunately been tied up elsewhere, so playing the role of Chris Coleman today is none other than the Denver Center's casting director, Grady Soaps.
Hey everybody.
How are you, Grady?
I'm great.
Good. I'm excited to have you here today.
Yeah, I'm super excited.
Yeah, let's get into it. So 22-23 season was announced about a month ago now, right?
Yeah,
about
mid-March.
a month. How excited are you?
I'm super excited for this season. You know, this is our, we did have this season and it was an amazing season, but this is our return to somewhat of a normalcy of like a planning process and just getting all of these shows put together, a little less COVID focused and a little bit more art focused and theater focused and just excitement around that. So that's what I'm most excited about.
Yeah, and I can feel the excitement sort of throughout the center. Like everybody seems really excited about having a more normal season than what we've had this past year.
Right.
So
I feel like that's the feeling across the nation is like now we're just able to dig in our heels and just start really enjoying the work again.
For sure. So we solicited some questions from our followers, from our subscribers, and so we have a couple of questions from folks who wanted to know about the season. So the first question that we wanted to get into, in fact, the most common question that we got was, wait, what happened when we announced the season? People were like, what happened to Mean Girls? What happened to Kill a Mockingbird? Where are these other shows? And obviously those are still coming to Denver. Nobody panic. To Kill a Mockingbird is still going to be here, but they're obviously not a part of the theater company season. So can you just talk for folks a little bit about the difference between the theater company season and the Broadway season?
Yeah, absolutely. For those that don't know, what's really exciting about the Denver Center is that we are an umbrella organization that has many lines of programming that operate under that umbrella. So we have DCPA Theater Company, Broadway, Cabaret, Off-Center, Education, Event Services. And so Mean Girls, To Kill a Mockingbird, all of those are a part of the Broadway division, the National Tour division, which are just tours that come in. They come from New York or Los Angeles or other major cities, and then they do their performances here, but they bring everything in, one-stop shop, do the show, and then go. But what's really amazing about the theater company and off-center education is all of those productions are produced here in Denver by all of our amazing artisans. You know, we have a staff of over 100 people on our theater company side that are building the sets, that are sewing the costumes, that are painting the intricate rocks that you're seeing in Quixote Nuevo. And so that's what I think is the heart of the theater company is it is produced and built in Denver, and then we are able to do the shows that aren't always coming through national tours. Most national tours, with the exception of To Kill a Mockingbird, are musicals that are coming straight off of Broadway or that have had a lot of success on Broadway, but there's a lot of things that are happening off Broadway regionally that we are able to bring to this community as well, which is really exciting. So that's the difference.
Yeah, and I think that's a great way to put it. And it is fun to know that like the theater is being produced by people who live and work here in Denver, right? All these artisans, all these people who are part of our community get to put on and create amazing theater, right?
Well, and these people who have been a part of our community for such a long amount of time that have really, there are people who have been here since, I don't want to say the inception of the Denver Center, but who have been here for that long that have helped build the reputation for what DCPA Theater Company has become and allowed the organization to grow and have what I hope is a really great reputation in the industry. So
absolutely, I couldn't agree more. Okay, so we have a couple of questions about some of the specific shows on the season, so I want to dive into those. The first one comes from Jackie C., and Jackie wants to know, the DCPA's last Shakespeare production was very classic Shakespeare. Will Much Ado About Nothing have a similar look and feel or be something completely different?
So this is where I'm playing the role of Chris Coleman because our artistic director, Chris Coleman, will be directing it. And without giving too much away, because this is still in process, we're in what we call like design conferences, pre-production, really starting to shape what that production is going to be. So yes, I think this is going to be a more contemporary. Is it going to be set on Mars in 2025?
Ooh.
Absolutely not. You know, but like, yeah, I think it's going to be a more contemporary, maybe 1940s take on Shakespeare, which is just really exciting. You know, we have an amazing team that is working on this. The scenic designer from Rattlesnake Kate, Kevin Copenhaver, who is our resident costume designer, who did the costumes for 12th Night, but also has done, you know, many shows here. And Kevin is always really, what I love about Kevin's work is that he takes that time period and then he puts the Kevin Copenhaver touch on it, which 100%. Is more theatricalized, you know, and plays with time period a little bit, just so that it has a little bit more fluidity of where we could be in the world. So I think just like, now that we have this production team and creative team assembled and they've all worked together, I think they're going to create this really exciting world. And I don't want to give away too much because
you'll have
to come see it. Yeah, exactly. I want you to come see it.
Awesome. Well, I'm super excited. I love Shakespeare, and I love that Shakespeare, you know, it can be on Mars in 2025 or whatever, right? That's sort of the beauty of the Bard.
Yeah, and that, like, you know, I think what we always are just trying to do too is just bring, you know, these stories alive and this text alive. I think that's what people are always looking for, is just really strong storyline and text, because it is just so fascinating that all the things that Shakespeare was doing in that time period. I can't imagine writing that many plays at my age, right. You know, what he was doing. So it's just, I think it's really great that we are continuing to be able to promote the classics, promote the contemporary works, promote the new works, and
for sure,
this season feels very well-rounded in all of those categories. So
I think that's perfect. And for those that are tuning in right now, if you have questions that you want to ask of myself and mostly of Grady, feel free to drop them in the chat, whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube. You should be able to drop your questions in the chat, and hopefully at the end of this interview, we'll get to a couple of your questions. So please submit them. But the next question is actually one that when I found out Chris wasn't going to be here, I thought this would be a great question for you, Grady. Somebody named Roberta B. asked, what's the process for casting each of the shows? Do you do all of your casting here in Denver?
Yeah, thanks, Roberta. I'll try to be concise with this question, because casting is a pretty multi-tiered process. You know, the first step is once we have decided what the show is going to be, we're engaging with the director to kind of start to figure out what their vision of the show is going to be, because that starts to dictate, I'm going to break it down to like very basic terms, but like that starts to determine the character descriptions. So we're always asking a director to build character descriptions for the show. A lot of times those descriptions are in the front of a script, but sometimes if it's a new play or if you're doing something different with the play, we just want to get a sense of like, who is the person that you are trying to cast? Like, you know, emotional arcs, how they show up in a room, and all of those things. So once we have those character descriptions put together, we start to put out audition calls. We do cast here in Denver. We also cast where we think that we are going to find the most talent for the show, and that's different per production. Right. You know, sometimes it's New York, sometimes it's Chicago, sometimes it's LA. And then, you know, what's also been really fascinating in this new post-COVID world is that I think we have all figured out how to do the Zoom audition. Right. And so we are seeing more and more casting happening over Zoom, because you might be living in Atlanta, but you could be a really great fit for this production. Right. But it's a process of people coming to us, letting us know they're interested. Casting agents casting agents, but also actor agents get involved and say, hey, I think that my client would be a really great fit. And we actually just wrapped our general auditions, which is an opportunity for people to be seen for all the shows in our season, to be considered for those shows. We did our Much Ado Denver auditions just a few days ago, which was really exciting. So we're starting to do that. And then I leave on Sunday to go to New York to
Oh, wow,
finalize casting for Chinese Ladies. So it's so different. But yeah, and then we just hold auditions, you know, and the process is people read dialogue, monologues from the show in the audition process. That gives the director an opportunity to have a feedback loop session with them saying, I love what you're doing, but let's take it to this level, or let's change this emotional arc to be different this way. And so that one-on-one interaction with the director, whether it be in person or over Zoom, I think is the most important part of the process, because they're getting to know the actor, they're getting to know what the instincts are of people coming in, and getting to know how they're going to interact with each other.
Right.
You know, director and actors and creative team, they spend a month together. And then the actors spend months together,
Right.
you know, with this show. So it's always trying to find that, like, marriage. I always call it a little bit of like dating. You're kind of dating this person to figure out how well you're going to interact with them for the next 2 months, year, depending on what the production is.
Yeah, and I love that you talked about just like every production is different, and even like one of the things that we might get to later on is that we're doing the 39 Steps again, which I know the Denver Center Theater Company has done previously, but obviously the production is going to be different, right? Because it'll be different actors and a different director.
Yeah.
So it's exciting to see, you know, a show you might be familiar with, but because of this process that you're talking about, it's going to be completely different.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's what we're always looking for, right? Is that like, that's what's the beauty of the Broadway tours, is that the Broadway tours are the show that you saw on Broadway, but like the production of Chinese Lady that is happening at the Public or just happened at the Public, our production of the Chinese Lady is going to be completely different. Completely different director, cast, vision, all of those things. So you're always getting kind of a fresh take on some of these, sometimes classic tales, but in this instance of Chinese Lady, like a very new play to the regional market.
Awesome. So this next question is from Barbara M. And Barbara asks, why isn't there a world premiere from this year's New Play Summit on the 22-23 season? Don't you usually take one or two plays from the New Play Summit and add them to your season?
Yeah. So yes, we do have new plays that are in our current season. They I know it's like COVID times make it feel so much long ago, but the 2020 Colorado New Play Summit was the last summit one of the last things we were able to do before the shutdown, and Hotter Than Egypt was in that 2020 summit. And so it was our intention to actually do it in this season, but then we all had to continue to scoot everything back. And so our hope is, and this won't always be the case, but our hope is to not go straight into production from the summit. So we just had the 2022 summit. So you will probably see titles from the 2022 summit when we announce our next season in 23-24. And the reason behind that is giving it a little bit more time, is that way we are able to assemble a team that is the most exciting for that work.
Gotcha.
If we do the summit in February 2022 and then we announce that in March of 2022, we go into rehearsals for that sometimes in November or December.
Oh wow, that's a really fast turnaround.
So it's a fast turnaround. So like we might not get it, it's hard to book creative teams, lighting designer, sound designer, set designer, actors who we would be interested in because they are otherwise engaged. You know, the theater community is always working a year in advance. So we have kind of done the year and a half out for those plays so that we can really make sure that we are getting the most exciting folks in the room to support that production, and that we're not trying to scrunch that process just to get the world premiere out. So that's our hope, is so you will see, you know, like Hotter Than Egypt 2020 back at us at 2022. And I'm really excited to tease out the shows that that are coming out from the summit from this year.
For sure. So Barbara, if you're watching, never fear. It sounds like some shows from this year's New Play Summit may eventually be making their way to Denver.
They definitely will.
Definitely will. I didn't want to
Definitely will.
too definitive, but Grady said, so
Definitely
you can hold
will.
him to it. Okay, this next question is from Elizabeth G. She is a current theater company subscriber, and it's a little bit of a long question, but I want to read it. We would like to renew our Saturday matinee theater tickets, but we were hoping to do it in conjunction with our two friends, Vicky and Eric, who are also Saturday Matinee subscribers. Is there any easy way for us to coordinate that so that we can sit together? So there are a lot of questions like this, right, about your subscription and how to manage it. How can folks get help with questions like this?
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for being a subscriber.
Yes.
It's really exciting. I am also a subscriber within the DCPA blanket or umbrella, just because it's always so fun to like consume theater with my friends. And so I think it's great that everybody is trying to say like, hey, we want to make a day of this. There are many ways that you can accomplish this. First of all, just calling our box office team, right? There's a subscriber line. Just being able to call the box office. We have many subscriber services folks that work in our box office team that are more than happy to accomplish this for you. Like I said, I have subscriptions with my friends, and we have people add on each year because we're just trying to make it an event. And that's the joy of subscribing is that you get to book those tickets before they go on sale for the general public. So you're able to choose those seats ahead of time. So, very easy to do. Just call our box office. I think it's 303-893-4100.
Yes, that is the box office line.
I did it.
You did it.
I've seen the commercials. I've listened to the NPR.
Yes, and you can, a lot of people, I myself find that like I don't like to call people, but you can also email our box office team at tickets@dcpa.org if you would, like to get a response that way.
And also just what's really amazing about our subscriber packages is we also have many packages that are available. There's a choose your own package where you can start to kind of cherry pick the shows that you're most interested in. There's I believe it's called Power Pass that you can just buy like a bulk of tickets and then decide how you would like to utilize those. Those could all go to one show. Those could be 5 to 1, 3 to another that do include Christmas Carol for the choose your own and for the Power Pass. Yeah.
That's great.
And then there's just the regular subscription that you're getting all the new shows that are coming through. So that one doesn't include Christmas Carol because hopefully you are seeing Christmas Carol in 2015 or whenever you join the subscriber sales. So awesome. Many options.
Love that. Okay, just a couple more questions. This one is actually my question that I wanted to ask. The Color Purple is one of my all-time favorites. It's such a great musical. I'm so excited that we're doing it. Can you talk a bit about the selection process for this musical and how we finally landed on that particular show?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the tricks that we do have with being an umbrella organization, I guess we're every time we say the word umbrella, I don't know, we have to high five or something. But we have many tours that come through here, and so it's always a little bit of a dance of like which titles can we choose to produce in our theater company season that a lot of our audiences might not have seen in the Broadway season within the last, even 10 years, So there's a lot of tours that have come through of titles that are really exciting, but people have had access to those titles by seeing them through the Broadway series. And I don't remember which year, probably 2015, 2016, they did the revival of Color Purple. I saw it on Broadway. It was beautiful. But that tour did not come through Denver. And so that actually put us in a really great position that we could consider that title to produce it through the theater company. And how we landed on that is that's a constant, we kind of have a running list of like titles that we're excited about, stories that we're excited to tell. And so Color Purple has been on that short list for a while because we're, again, able to produce it. It's the same thing with Oklahoma. There's an Oklahoma tour that went through, but because that tour didn't necessarily come through Denver, it continues to enable us to be able to produce that show. And just what you said is there's so many people that love that story. It's, such a beloved book. I think that there's a lot of recognition because of the book that a lot of people are able to attach themselves to that story and be excited about seeing that.
No, you're totally right. Even if people aren't familiar with, people might even know that it is a Broadway musical or that it is a musical adaptation, but even if you haven't read the book, you've certainly heard of it because it's...
Or the movie, yeah.
Oh, yeah, totally. The movie as well.
Pandemic times, I went back and reread the book and rewatched the movie, kind of knowing that this was in the docket, and I going back, it's like this was Whoopi Goldberg's like claim to fame. I guess I didn't realize that this was her. She'd done some smaller show, but now, you know, and it's now becoming such a big catalyst for people in that show. I mean, Cynthia Erivo.
Oh my God, right?
I mean, of course she had a career prior to, or before Color Purple, but like once she played Celie in London and New York, I think her career has just skyrocketed.
Absolutely.
So
and now she's gonna play the biggest role possible, right?
Right. So it's just exciting it's an amazing show for actors to do. It's just there's just so many great roles for, especially female actors.
Yep.
You know, it's a great show. So we're
Awesome.
excited about it.
Yes, I'm obviously excited about it because I slipped one of my own questions
Yeah.
into here so that I could talk about it. Well, Grady, that's all the time that we have today. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for playing the role of Chris Coleman today.
Yep.
It's always a pleasure to talk to you. For everyone watching, we can't wait to see you back at the theater for our 2022-23 theater company season. If you're interested in becoming a subscriber, if you want to learn more, you can visit denvercenter.org/subscribe or head to dcpa.today/tcsubs to get more info about subscriptions. As always, make sure to hit the follow button so that you never miss our lives. You can always stay up to date on the exciting things happening here at the Denver Center, and we'll see you next time. Grady, thanks again.
Bye, y'all. Thanks.
See ya.